Did you know that manufacturers have incentive money to give to the customer? And a lot of times the dealer doesn't actually tell the customer that's buying the car what that incentive money is. This is true. The manufacturer a lot of times can give you several $1,000s off. I've seen $2, $3, $4, $5,000, $10,000 off bigger trucks and stuff like that when the customer never gets told about the incentive and they follow through with the purchase, all because they didn't ask the right question. Your question to ask is this: what incentives, what cash off incentives is the dealer giving on this particular vehicle, or the manufacturer giving on this particular vehicle? Ask that question before you even get started with the deal. What are you doing? Are you getting mad? You getting angry? Are you getting angry? Okay, we're going to talk about how you should approach buying a car. The first thing you need to do is you need to know your credit score. You need to use a source, your bank, whoever. Your credit card can pull your credit score for you, a lot of them anyway. You need to know what your credit score is. Credit Karma alone is not going to be enough. It'll give you an idea, but it's not going to be enough. And then, if you have a bank that you can rely on, that you trust, and that you have had some rapport with, some time with, you need to get pre-approved through your bank on an automotive loan, whether it be $25,000, $30,000, $40,000, whatever your budget range is. Try to get pre-approved through your own bank or Capital One or somebody like that, and see what they can do for you before you even go into the dealer. Once you go into the dealer, you are going to look for a vehicle that you're interested in, and once you find out what you're interested in, actually start asking questions like to the salesman. What's it going to cost for an oil change here at this dealership? When I service the transmission, how much is that going to cost? Is this transmission serviced in this vehicle way more expensive than, like your average four-door sedan that doesn't have all the bells and whistles, and it's not twin turbo and all this other stuff? Get an idea and a feel for what the vehicle is actually going to cost you to service the vehicle. Tune-ups, oil changes, transmission flushes, tire rotations, and see if you can sit down and figure out in your budget, am I going to be able to pay $500 a month, plus every other month go get a $200 oil change, plus every 15, 20,000 miles have an oil change, tire rotation done? Am I also going to be able to afford the $500, $600 it costs to service the transmission every 30,000 miles? Am I going to be able to afford $1,000 worth of tires every 3 or 4 years? Can I replace the battery every 4 or 5 years, knowing that it's $250, $300 at a dealer or something, some high-end battery? Can I do these things and comfortably own this car? Or do I need to shoot for something that's more basic, it's more simple, that I like, it's more affordable to maintain? Can I afford to replace 16 spark plugs in this truck because it's a Hemi? Or 16 spark plugs in this Ford because it's a 6.2? Can I afford to do these things? And if the answer is yes, by all means continue forward. Second part of this is when you're at the dealer, if you're looking at their financing. She's watching me talk, she always does this. If you're wanting to go with them and their financing, understand that you have options with their financing. When that guy leaves you to go into the finance manager's office or the general manager's office and put your information through to see what lenders out there are willing to lend to you, typically there's more than one lender that comes back with a % of interest, and it benefits them to get you into the higher percent as much as possible. For instance, I went to a Ford dealer one time and I was looking at a Ford Focus. I just wanted a little shitbox to get back and forth. That was new, that was reliable, and at the time I wasn't a Ford tech yet. It was when they first started having problems. I went to the Ford dealer, I got one. They had me at 0%. It was going to be for the term of the loan. Me stupidly, I agreed to a 2.1, 2.2% because that lowered my payment every month, and the dealer said it would actually look better overall, when that was just a complete lie. I should have went with the 0% and just paid the extra $20 for the payment, and I would have paid less interest overall. But I fell for the BS. 0% is not a bad option. It's a great option, actually. The only reason they go with the higher percent interest is because it lowers the payment, but overall you end up paying more. When that guy comes back to you and you're sitting at the table and he says, well, here's the numbers we got you at. We got you at, 7.2% with Capital One. They're willing to, that was the best deal we could get. Typically that 7.2% is not 7.2%. In a lot of states, they can actually increase the percent to make more money, more profit off of you. That 7.2 actually may look like 5.2. So your job is to ask them at this point if they'll work with you, if they'll be honest with you, what lenders came back and what percents did they give you, because they're only going to tell you the one that they want to. And then if you want another one, and they're going to act like they need to go back to the drawing board to see what other lenders are out there that can approve you. They already know which ones are out there. They already know what the percentages and stuff are. They know how to work their numbers and stuff based on the interest, and in some states they can actually increase it more than what the bank is actually saying. So a 7.2 might actually be a 5.2. I've been in the office, walking out of the office, and heard a salesman say, okay, you got him with Washington State Bank at 7.5, and as the guy's walking out to go tell them, oh, we got a lender, oh, wait, Capital One came back at 9.2. Throw them the 9.2, not the 7.5. Oh, wait a second. We just had another one pop up. This is Bank of America at 10.4. Give them the Bank of America one. Don't mention the other two. If we have to, we can fall back on the 9 point, whatever, and not tell them about the 7 point at all. That's how they play this game. And a lot of times, they'll jack up the percent as much as possible. The repairs and stuff that are done to used vehicles are actually recorded on a used vehicle inspection report. Ask for the used vehicle inspection report. Ask for a printout of what was approved and not approved whenever that technician pulled it into the shop and notified management that these things need to be fixed on this vehicle. And if they're all green, everything was approved, and you can verify that, well then great, you're getting a good deal. But a lot of times a vehicle will come in, it'll be like brakes, tires, there's an oil leak, there's a weird sound in the steering from time to time when hitting a bump while turning right. All these things are annotated, but management may come back and be like, yeah, we just want to do the brakes and the tires. We don't want to do any of the other stuff because that's not safety related concern. Use that as a bargaining tool. Fine. If I've got to fix an oil pan leak, it's going to be at least 2 hours worth of work. Then I'm going to have about $30-$40 worth of parts, whether it be gasket or silicone. That's $500-$600. They're going to have to take another $500-$600 off of the deal if you're not going to pay for it then, or fix the oil pan leak. Use that inspection report as a bargaining tool. Also, new cars as well. They have a PDI inspection report, and what basically that is they go through the vehicle to verify all of the stuff that the manufacturer sent it with is there. Fluid levels, all these things. And if things need to be added or changed or something's wrong, that will be actually notated on that PDI inspection report. So make sure you ask for the new vehicle inspection report as well to make sure everything was done correctly. If you have a vehicle that's within a certain amount of years and mileage, it's called a certified vehicle. If it's within that certain year and mileage range, you get a better finance rate. Actually figure out what that manufacturer's certified pre-owned inspection is, because or used car inspection, certified pre-owned inspection. Make sure that you know what their terms and conditions are for that, so the vehicle that you have may fit that criteria. If it says the vehicle's within 5 years and it's within 60,000 miles, and you've got a 2022 Kia Forte and it's only got 22,000 miles on it, and there's nothing wrong with it, it's got the original style tires on it that came with it from the factory, everything else is like brand new, then you can ask the Kia dealer, how come this isn't certified pre-owned? Because if it's certified pre-owned, I get a better finance rate than just a regular vehicle because it's in better shape, it's in better condition. Make sure you ask those questions. And also, don't be afraid to ask for the vehicle to be put on a lift so you can look for oil leaks and stuff. And also, don't be afraid to say, hey, can I take this vehicle down to the street to an independent mechanic, and can I just pay an hour for them to inspect the vehicle and give me a report back? If nothing comes back and everything's good, I'll work with you. Or you use that inspection report to negotiate your terms on the vehicle that you're purchasing. The mechanic comes back and says, yeah, the brakes are at a 4 millimeter. They're close to being, you know, they're in the yellow, kind of reddish. You're gonna have to have brakes soon, by the, you know, in the next couple months or end of the year. Use that as a negotiating tool. Fine, I'll buy the vehicle. You replace the brakes and the rotors for me. This is the best way to purchase a vehicle, knowing what you have before you go into it, and then once you get into it, knowing how to control the situation so you don't get screwed. Also, if you have a trade-in, I would ask for the deal, figure out what the total numbers and stuff are, and then at the end of the deal, say, hey, you know, I was thinking about it. I might want to trade in my vehicle on this whole thing. Can you give me a price on my vehicle? And see if the numbers jive with what they tell you. Oh yeah, it's $20,000 for this vehicle now, at the beginning of the deal. And then you tell them you got a $5,000 trade-in with all the financing numbers and everything else at the end of it. They may come out and say, you know, with your interior protection, your extended warranty and everything else, you're looking at like $26,000. You know, with that being a $5,000 trade-in with it. Don't say nothing about that in the beginning. Go ahead and get your full deal, get your final number and stuff, what it's going to cost you, and then say, hey, I've got a vehicle that I think I might want to trade in. Can you give me a value on that vehicle and tell me what my trade-in price would be? You know, now that $22,000 may end up looking like 18 or 19 by the time all the taxes and fees and everything's added on. So instead of going up like crazy because they're able to tuck that in the back end of the deal and mess with the numbers and stuff, you've brought it up at the end. You know what your final numbers are. It's going to be lower. It's just all in how you play the game. All in how you negotiate. And remember, if you put a deposit down on a vehicle, that does not mean that vehicle is yours. I've known of dealerships that take a $1,000 deposit down on the vehicle, and the customer is going to come in, you know, they pay $1,000 over the phone, they get a receipt and stuff like that, the preliminary paperwork over the phone and email, then they come in that following, maybe that's on a Saturday, they can't get there right away, and on a Monday they go pick up that vehicle, finish up the paperwork and stuff that they've been approved for, and that vehicle be gone, sold. And then they hand them their $1,000 back and say, sorry, somebody else came and bought it. Just because you put a deposit down on a vehicle doesn't mean you're entitled to that vehicle. They can and will sell it if the right person comes along and offers them enough money, or just gets the deal done right then and there before you even get there. And they'll just hand you your money back, and you got to go on your merry way. Hope these tips help you. If you're going to buy a car, follow this or some kind of guideline like this, and this will help you tremendously. Remember to ask questions. What other banks out there approved me? What were the other finance rates? Can you show me proof of that? Can you show me an inspection report? Can we put the vehicle in the air and look at it? Would you care if I took it down the street to another mechanic and got a second opinion? Also, what's the maintenance cost on this versus a lower model? Maybe I can settle for a lower model and it costs me a heck of a lot less to maintain it. These things are very, very, very important. Take care.